I would say it's the most critical aspect of aviation in Tanzania now. In any sector inside an airline, there's deficiency of staff, competent staff. This is an industry that doesn't forgive. You cannot play around. If I get a guy that is in another field, I can transform him to be. It becomes very expensive for you to run a company like that. So what you need is people that understand their role in those areas, so they can self manage what is the expectation that the companies or the aviation themselves waits from them. So when I reached Tanzania, unfortunately, the situation in company where I was critical, because it was exactly the moment that national airline was bringing new equipment. So, new babies coming, the people want to join. That's the greener pasture. So what is the next move? Is you go into the market and bring in new professionals to there. There wasn't any, especially in maintenance field, which is very expensive to train people, and it takes a lot of many years. So no airline, no school was available. I know there are so many technical institutes, etc., but up to now, 7 years later, I think that's one of the frustrations I have. I couldn't say that the government has taken hands on this, has forecasted how the industry is pressuring to have these people available in the market, and to the point where now it is like a bloody sea. The airlines are killing each other to have these professionals, which is making now the pricing of the staff getting so high. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing wrong against people getting good salaries, well paid. The problem is that balance needs to be there. If the balance is not there, then this airline doesn't have a sense of meaning to continue existing, because it's a business. And as a business, the investor put his money somehow in the future, is expecting to have some returns of the investment. So a company, because it's paying huge salaries, not only that, but it has other challenges also to fulfill, and is not making profit, soon is going to die. So this is what we will be ending if this balance is not respected. So I would expect that the government take hands on this. I know there's a lot of projects ongoing now. The Chinese government has a financial. I know there's an institute that is trying to do that. But it should be seen more seriously, with more capability. So the professionals that needs to be there passing this information need really to be people that are capable of transmitting. It's not only producing stuff and graduating and throw them in the market, and there is the next step of because the professional cannot enter, for example, in like a pilot or an engineer, they cannot be in the field if they don't have license. So they need to be prepared for that next step, to go to the authority and be able to do those exams. The authority also, in the other hand, needs to be available, not when they think they can be available, because, as I said, the resources also, these guys also has a lot of challenges, and there's not enough staff there. Regulation is very strict. My point of view, too strict in the terms of examination. Is not fit for today's reality. My opinion, personal opinion, not the opinion, not an expert on that field also, because I don't do laws. But my feeling, compared to other realities, my license is European. I can feel the examinations are more at very old-fashioned, still in Tanzania, old generation, from the time that the British was still around. The other reality is way different, and you can feel they are really promoting to have more professional, the industry to have more professionals there, without discarding the quality of the process, the professionals to be there, but to be with some quality and to be able to grow in the future. Because you can sit there in TCA, you can be an entire year from people that are Again, not a critique, just saying the reality, okay, that I live. A licensed engineer that comes from abroad, what is expected from them is to be to study the country regulation, pass through exam, and be given the credit that because he's already a licensed engineer. But no, what happens in Tanzania is a whole different story. Apart from going for that legislation to prove that you already read and you understand what is the legislation, it is like you are being tested again as all over to pass it. For these people that has 20 years, like me, 20, 30 years in aviation, I would say it's not fair. Because you are going to ask the guys the very basic, the things that he studied 30 years back. To prove what? That he's an engineer. He's already an engineer. He has a license to prove that. You don't trust that license, call his authority that endorsed him the license and to make sure. Call the company that he has been working. There's ways of doing the cross-checking, the due diligence to be sure that this person is not a fake. Because there's a lot of professionals also. Unfortunately, in any industry, it happens. The other day, we just learned that there's a medic doing operation for 20 years in Europe, and it was not really a medic. They found out 20 years later that the guy has been operating the people. Nobody. There's another case in South Africa, a pilot, a captain, that he even went for retirement, almost getting in retirement. There is when they learn. A 747 captain, instructor, I don't know what. They never been in an aviation school, but he's been there. You understand what I mean? So it will always be oversight. But what is good is to trust the system. If you have a system that is really tough, it's really robust, and is working, that is minimum. I mean, it's reduced to the minimum because it will happen. Zero findings is impossible in any industry, especially in aviation that is so much ruled.
So in short here, Pablo, what you're saying is one of the problems that create this shortage of personnel is lack of institutions and also challenges with the stiff regulations.
Yes, I would not say lack of institutions. Institutions are there, but the institution to be functioning.
Like training.
Exactly. The institution, you need to have more schools, for sure. Country has what, 64 million person? Yes. How many of them are young? I think the average age, thank God, for Tanzanians is 22, 24 years old. It's a very young country. So there's the workforce. The country has a potential. It has the, let me say, the material to work out and build. If you go to China, you will see the whole country policy is turned for productivity. Who produce? The elder people are not producing anymore. They are there just to do the basics and arrive the time for their retirement. So who is producing is the young people. So the investment need to be there. I'll give you one example. I have many challenges and critiques about my government from the country where I'm coming, Cape Verde Islands. But one thing I really appreciate there, we are tiny, only 500,000 people, but 1/4 of the budget of the government for education is turned 1/4. Starting with the teachers that are going to teach the teachers, they have to be at least master. So there are schools, they invest in sending these people abroad. Whenever there was this cooperation between the states, they didn't ask, build me a stadium, build me a hospital. They said, no, give me beccas. I need to send my people to train, get them exposure. There's good things and bad things about that. Being a country of immigration, whenever these people, most of these people, when they get, they stay. They don't come back. But the good thing is they never lose ties with the country. They always invest in the country, okay? So this is to say, these professionals, when they get back, they are exposed to another reality, and they come to teach these teachers, which later on are the ones coming to teach our kids. So they invest a lot on that. Now, for the first time in almost 50 years of independence, is when we are getting universities. Because it's not that the government didn't want to have a university. They said, we don't have the resources, the basic resource, which is the human, the teachers to be there with the capability to teach the teachers. So we have universities, institutes that is only exclusively to teach the teachers. And these are the ones that are going to our kids. So the investment needs to be there in education.
On your side, you faced this challenge, lack of personnel. Still, your aircraft you were needed to be airworthy. How did you cope with it? What did you do?
Unfortunately, here's where it becomes expensive for the airline, because you cannot negotiate in not executing what it has to be executed. So you have lack of personnel. So one task that was supposed to take, let me say, an entire check that was supposed to take 1 month, it will take you 3 months. So if you think that these aircrafts are built for a business and they need to be on air to make money, we need to make flights. This is what an airline lives on: selling cargo space, selling seats to transport people from A to B. So if that's no longer available, if this aircraft is staying 60 days more than what it was planned to be on the ground, that's 60 days of revenue that you are denying to the airline. So here's the challenge. When you don't have enough professional, you need to step back. You need to put in the drawing board in your program that is going to take longer for you to execute what is necessary. So if you think that it's an aircraft that needs to come back for doing a heavy check every 2 years, if 60 days in 24 months, 2 months is a lot. If you put it in proportion, that's a lot of money that you are denying to the airline. So this is how bad the lack of personnel. Moreover, the lack of competent personnel is hitting the industry in Tanzania.
So you only delayed checks?
That's one, the delay in the checks. And also the investment. Now you need to invest a lot in training, supplemented training, not only the mandatory training, but now you have to go beyond. You have to give more, because you need to fast track this. The company cannot cope. Okay, they can tolerate you having these losses for a certain number of years. But then you just need to come up with a solution. These people need to step up. They need to come fast so we no longer suffer from this problem. How? Well, these trainings, this exposure, picking the staff, sending them, for example, how we do. We send them to Kenya Airways, which is a airline. So to fast track them, be able to be in industry or in a company where there's more exposure, there's more techniques, there's more things to be done there. So as they accumulate more hours, they are more comfortable and they will be fast-tracked to come back as a senior. Yeah.